Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Gold, I
There
believe,
is no
Sigma player.
obligation for
If you
you
guys are
versus
enjoying the
me
content,
to
please
you.
do like and subscribe, as that definitely does help me out. Or if you are looking to get
How do you
coaching
fit on the
yourself,
watch
you can
list
join
here?
my Discord through the description below, and in there you can see what the rates look like, become part of the community, see any events or promotions we have going on, cool stuff like that.
As usual. Damage
What a
increase.
curious feeling.
I've got you.
Okay, so we're partnered with a Reinhardt. I'm going to see if we're doing a better job with off angles this time. I know we had some of that in our last game on, maybe it wasn't the last game, but in our Ike game.
Attackers incoming.
Okay,
Defend objective A.
I can work with this. I'd like you to have a corner. I don't love this.
Activating the barrier.
Nah, you're just giving barrier away there. This isn't worth you spending barrier or shots on. Just close the angle.
Barrier's
No,
about
no,
to
no.
break.
Yeah, that was way too much barrier damage that didn't do enough. It's just you. I suspect he will be, but I didn't hear from him. So you spent like 650 barrier HP for you to be able to send out 2 shots. And that was always going to happen, or your barrier was going to break, because there's a ton of you here, a ton of them here that can shoot at you, and you're the only thing that they can shoot at. Whereas this is you're the only one. So this is like a 1v5 that you're creating, putting up your barrier. It's just not worth it. Let them start around, let them be here where more of your team can see them before you open the angle. I want you on the off angle, but I don't want you opening it to fight them 1v5. I want them to get here first. Nice, nice. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. So this is better. You see how they're not even looking at you even though you're shooting at them, because they kind of want to fight these guys, which is perfect for you. You're like, yeah, I'll happily take that, and I'll pelt you from the side, and either you get damage on them when they're not looking, or they look at you, and then their attention split. They're not looking at your team who's pelting them. This is what you want. Pull back bear. Good. Your Reinhardt's being annoying, but we forgive him. He just doesn't know better. Pull it back. Pull it back. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So that probably was a situation rather than sending your barrier out here. If we look at this, you send your barrier out. I don't really want to send your barrier out here. I'd have probably instead done a little more, try to stick your hand in front of your Reinhardt and spend some shift to protect his barrier and yours type situation. But hey, that's okay. You do have to still respect the hog hooks. You have to be very careful about that. There, now you look for a shift opportunity. Did you just put that out? You did. We don't want our barrier out, but okay, you're gonna rock. Okay. You're shifting when the hog's not looking at you, and when the rock is out. Conceptually good, but I hope you rotate with this. No, 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 you have to rotate with this. You're not just gonna stand there while shifting, because you standing there while shifting doesn't accomplish enough. So we go like this. And I don't mind shifting here, but you're backing up, and that's fine. You're using this shift to cover your rotation to here, or you're using this shift to cover your rotation up to here, etc., which I don't recommend. But you'd be using this shift to continue to cover your rotation back to here, which is where you were going. But you like go, oh, I shifted, so I better move forward to get stuff. If your shift gets stuff, that's great. We would like your shift to get stuff, but we're primarily using this shift to cover a rotation. And that's a fine use of shift. We don't have to go, oh, now I'm going to go forward because I'm shifting because I have to get stuff absorbed. We would like to get stuff absorbed. There was a reasonable belief that stuff was going to get absorbed by this shift, mostly reasonable anyways, but please continue your rotation and then play from this corner. You see your team has surrendered some space. You need to adjust to this new reality, etc. Yeah, no going forward here. There isn't enough. You can't hold this space. Your team isn't enforcing other angles for you well enough. That threat's in this spot anyways. Okay, pull back your shield, leave. This is fine. You don't need to play even quite this deep. You can literally just play it from here. Should Genji be a tank? Yeah, it's called Reinhardt. They both, swing their things, Dragon Blade, Hammer, they're the same thing. See, what did you use the rock on there? You just rock him because you know he's already spent breather. You didn't interrupt breather. Okay. No, you can actually continue to wrap this. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting aggressive. But react to that.
Activating the barrier.
We have to dance it. Yeah, I mean, your team's just gone, but this is fine.
That music. It's playing again.
My position. Group up with me.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective B.
Okay, I'm okay with this positioning. I don't like quite how far you drifted there because you're now in a situation where you can't like cover dodge very quickly. Like this was fine. You drifted all the way out here, and I'm not sure why. You're just making it longer for you to get to cover. You really want to be able to take advantage of sort of the metronome, we'll call it, of Sigma's fire timing, where it's like fire, fire, and there's sort of a delay as he is, ammo back into his primary fire hand there, right? So you go fire, fire, and then you want the into his other hand to be while you're behind cover. Fire, 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 like that. That's what you're looking to do when you have this cover. You drifting out here means you can't really do that, and you didn't really get better angles on things by being out here.
Tactical visor activated.
So you should have gone for the rock immediately rather than the shots there, but that's okay. Because you wanted the stun effect. You didn't want to... I mean, damage is great if damage happens to take her down, but you wanted the stun. Cool. Sounds good, Game Buster.
My ultimate is ready.
Enemy contact.
Good. That was it right there. That one right there, where you fired them and left and then came back. That's what I want more of your shots to sort of look like. It doesn't have to be super 100% predictable because then, yes, you do get, okay, they know when you're going to show up, etc. But that more of what we saw there, less of the kind of hanging, less of the I'm going to shoot, I'm going to put out my shield, I'm going to shoot for a bit, etc. And like you get off one volley, 1.5 volleys, and you lose 3/4 of your shield. You can use the cover instead of your shield a lot of the time.
Barrier is about to
Okay.
break.
Okay, you can push her.
I'm on fire.
You can push her. You can do this too.
Unfortunate.
Now you can choose to just leave her. I mean, I'd like to go eliminate her because she probably will get her mech back if you don't before, but that's okay. Yeah, she got that mech back. Oh! Oh, feels bad. Feels bad. Where'd the echo actually get you from? Right there? Yeah, that's unfortunate. So again, this is sort of the territory of we want to know what we're using our barrier for a bit more here. Here you're throwing barrier to block micro missiles? Like, okay, you can do it. It's not terrible. But now that... No, you're not even blocking micro missiles. You're not really blocking anything with this barrier. Now you're blocking some regular damage. it's okay. It's not great what this barrier is doing, and this not great use of the barrier means that when you repeal it, you can't deploy it now because of the change for this bigger thing that you do want to block, which is these stickies. Because, you know, you always want to catch stickies, or you frequently want to catch stickies on your barrier, because then when you unsummon your barrier, it gets rid of them and it deletes the stickies with it without the damage coming out. So that's the thing that we definitely want to be looking for, etc. This wasn't really the best use of barrier that we had. We sort of for nothing, and then we got a little regular shot, micro missile shot, a little bit from here covered, etc. But it wasn't really it wasn't great. So we'll want to think, hey, do we need to be more precise with our barriers? Again, when this was in a situation where we could have just opened this angle less, been firing our shots, it was just a matrix, so we weren't really in any danger there. And then once the micro missiles come out, we can close the angle and go, you're just wasting micro missiles. Like, you're literally just wasting micro missiles because I closed the angle and you're stuck firing your entire load of micro missiles. And then the stickies that were on you took down Soldier. Feels bad. Feels bad. Oh, were you guys doing? Nice. Nice. That must have been fun. Or were you playing against each other? That could have been fun too.
Barrier is out of existence.
Barrier here. Again, we're doing our close open angle thing, which I like, but we're leaving our barrier out as we're doing it, which I don't like. We don't need to. We don't need to be doing this close open thing if our barrier's up, and we don't need our barrier up if we're doing the close open thing this hard. So I'm a fan of doing the close open thing here. I like having the barrier to block things, etc., but you don't need to be giving away as much barrier as you are. Remember, it's really not very durable now, and you need to pick your battles with what you're blocking it a lot more. Things like stickies, things like there's a potential hook that's going to come out, things like, hey, I'm worried about a flashbang. You know, I'm specifically putting this up because there's Pharah that's raining rockets on me, etc. You have to treat it a little more as a, hey, I know what I'm blocking type thing now, and use your cover a little more. Oh, yeah. Nice, got some health out of it.
Let them up.
Double kill.
We'll pretend that was up for the flash, so good. Fine. And this in general is fine because you're going, hey, it's really important that I get to, or my team gets to keep this window as they're positioning. So this is a good use of it. And now you should pull it back. Oh, the scarf. Grape has called me off on not having the scarf. There we go. We have the scarf.
Activating the barrier.
You see what that barrier did? I'll rewind it just so you have the barrier up. This is Sigma. So you see what this barrier did? You don't really have people that you can shoot at here, but they can shoot at your barrier. So you gave them value. This Echo couldn't see anything before, and you gave them a barrier to shoot at. So you want to be careful with your barrier deployments. You want to make sure that you're not pushing a barrier. This isn't a bad button, but you want to make sure that your barrier deployments aren't like out here, where people can shoot at them that you can't shoot at. And that is what's going on here, even though it's a less bad barrier deployment. Conceptually, you don't want to be giving barrier. You're making someone who had no targets she could shoot at now has a valid target, your barrier, to shoot at, and it's not even letting you shoot at them. So you don't want to go for this. You're new to the game. How does Sigma do Sigma things? Sigma does Sigma things primarily by going, hey, Sigma, specializes in taking what we'll call off-angle positions from the team and being very effective from those positions and very hard to remove from those positions. Sigma does that by having 3 sort of different forms of sustain. They have a shield that they can use to help them hold that spot. They have their shift ability, which absorbs stuff that comes in them, and if they don't get stunned out of it, then gets converted to extra health between their health and shields. And then they have 100 shields, which not all tanks have shields, and shields regenerate if you don't take damage for 3 seconds. So Sigma sort of balances between these 3 things to be pretty darn hard to extract from positions, etc. And even if Sigma gets dove, Sigma has a rock to help stun things, etc. So Sigma does a pretty good job. Not very high mobility, but once Sigma gets to a place like this, they have a lot of influence over the battlefield because, hey, it's hard to push in. If they try to push in here to deal with your team, they're getting shot in the side, in the head, etc. If they try to deal with you, your team gets to shoot them, etc. And you can, with very little help from your team, maintain these positions. A lot of effort has to be used to extract you from these positions. Cool. I think I just went over the abilities. I think I answered that question. I didn't answer the ult, but you'll see the ult in a moment. The ult lifts up a bunch of people, and then while they're in the air, you can use your left clicks, and it does, a lot of their health to lift and then slam them. So if you do a little more damage with left clicks while they're sort of helpless in the air, it's very easy to pick up eliminations. Hey, Nick. Yep. Good place for learning Overwatch stuff. Okay. And you're gonna rock it, fine. You don't really need to push her face. Remember, her damage gets a little better the closer she gets because she has a lot of spread to her weapon and she has fall off, whereas you really don't. Your optimal range for fighting divas is not point blank. When you knocked her back a little with your rock, you can sort of keep that distance, keep fighting her like this. If she rotates out, sure, follow the rotation, etc. But you don't want to get right in her face. That just makes her do more damage to you. Okay. I'm going for this here rather than continuing to beat on the diva. I don't love it. I'd have said continue pelting the diva, honestly, because that diva, you were sort of forcing the Valk Mercy back to help. You weren't in any trouble. You still had 80% of your life. This does give you a chance at... No. Oh, this could be so bad. Okay. Could have been so bad if you just given the McCree a better angle to take out your team. Which kind of is what happened. Again, if you'd been pelting this diva, that McCree just did almost 80% of your life, knocked you from what, like 380, 370 to 25 health or something like that. So like, I'd have preferred you'd kept pelting this diva, really chunking her down. You had good stuff on her. She was going to need second before she had boosters to re-challenge her. You were doing good work from here, and it was easier to chunk her down. I don't mind going, hey, let's use our ult to try to get something done, but I just didn't ever really feel like you were going to have great follow-up on that McCree with the positioning your team was in. That's okay, though. Yeah, Blah's definitely on it. Liking and subscribing is always great. Helps this spread, lets me do more of it, all sorts of good stuff. My opinion on Lucio is that he's not in a great spot. Some of that is meta dependent. Some of that is, he's one of the older Overwatch heroes, and there's been a lot of ability creep in terms of abilities doing a lot more things than they did when the game started for newer heroes or more recently reworked heroes. He's got his place, and he's got his good place with rush comps, heavy brawl comps, the Reinhardt Zarya, Reaper May, Sim, that in comps that are fully built around that, where he's partnered with Leica Moira, he's got his place, but he has become a bit of a specialist at this point, not a generalist, which is funny considering how long he was the generalist.
60 seconds.
Again, we're doing this thing where we're leaving our barrier out, if we look at this. So our barrier's out, and we're... Okay, I didn't rewind quite far enough, and it looks like you may have mentally captured it a little bit. you're doing the drifts. You don't need to be spending barrier on this. I don't mind it. Okay, you do this to keep another one out. And again, you're doing the drift while your barrier is out. You don't. It's kind of a one or the other thing most of the time.
Enemy contact.
I don't mind you drifting in case you in an emergency have to recall your barrier, but just make sure you're not actually delaying your next shot by any amount of time.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
No one was shooting at you. You're not going to get anything from this. So you come out here, and this is like you feel like people should be shooting at you, but that Echo just took away her ability to shoot at you. She duplicated a Reinhardt. The McCree's not looking at you. You want to think of your shift, actually how you think of your Zarya shift, where you want to already see the damage coming, or you want to be sure that damage is coming because you're already taking damage, and of course people are going to continue shooting at you when you pop the shift. Shifts are, hey, I'm already taking damage, I'm going to continue to take damage, or I see the projectiles coming for me and there's enough there to make it worth it, or to cover rotations, but even so, you don't pop it until you see that damage coming when you're covering rotations, or you're already taking it, etc. So I don't really like this shift.
Tactical visor activated.
Reinhardt.
You just felt like they should be shooting at you, but that doesn't mean they are. You want to see the damage incoming, or you want to already be taking the damage when you press the shift. Okay. You're busy shooting at a Reinhardt when another Reinhardt pins you off the high ground. Fun times.
Barrier is out of existence.
Hey Zara, good to have you here. So far, we've mostly been commenting about your shield deployment usage. For example, I don't like this shield deployment. I don't know what you're using it for. You only have 196 on your shield. Your Reinhardt's in front of you. I'd like you to be a little more conscious of what you're trying to block with the shield. Are you popping your shield out in case, you open an angle and a hook immediately comes out? For a flashbang, for stickies from a Sigma, we'd like to get a little more purposeful with our shield, because you do a lot of the I peek, throw orbs, unpeek, I peek, throw orbs, unpeek, and that's good, but when we're doing this, most of the time we don't need our barrier out. So, we want to be a little more conscious of what we're using our barrier for.
Barrier unstable.
Pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. It's not regenerating any HP. We're not going to rock that? Why are we not rocking that?
30 seconds remaining.
But he's in our face and shifting. Let's rock it. Even if he backs behind the Reinhardt shield, it's not like that's the end of the world. Why can Reinhardt jump on high ground? Well, I don't think he did. I mean, Reinhardt did a pin from here, and he probably had a little help to do it. But he did his pin from here to get to Zara when Zara got pinned off. It was kind of funny. Oh, you wanted to have this for the charge? Yeah, I don't think so. I would have just used that I would have just recommended using that to break the shift. You didn't want to push in. I'm not sure why you walked closer to this Reinhardt at all. Like, there's plenty of people alive. You do not need to be contesting. That step forward is going to cost you. Good. Why are you angling out here?
Like Newton.
Fine. Why are you backing up? You have some questionable movement here. Like, I don't know why you're backing up. If anything, you were potentially going to want to pursue there. That's just an understanding of what's left in the fight. So we're going to pursue when we're up. We have a lot. We want to get star kills. We're going to back up when there's a Reinhardt that's walking towards us. But, okay, and you're going to go back to your power position.
10 seconds remaining.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay,
Observe the barrier.
okay.
Round one. Round one.
Everyone.
Ready. Ready for. Ready
Okay.
for battle.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that pin. Like, it's not like, oh, you should have been aware that that was coming. How dare you not? I'm really not super worried about that one.
Attackers
Barrier in
incoming.
place.
Defend objective A.
Enemies coming right forward. Enemy turret ahead.
It's fine.
Objective is mine.
A common thing after halts like that would be to pop your shift because it is very likely that a lot of damage is going to come in on you. So this is one of those times where you probably could have gotten a fair amount of health and protection for your team by popping your shift. You'd stick your hand a little forward in front of your Rhine shield, etc.
Unstable.
Okay. Okay. Well. Pull back your shield. Please pull back your shield. Your poor barrier. Not recovering health for all that time.
Enemy turret theory.
Totally missed that Mercy Rosing in front of us. 100% missed it. We're too tunneled on the McCree that honestly shouldn't even be our target right now. Like, we want to go back to using this as our cover, going, hey, I can pelt the barrier, I can try to pelt the Mercy. Oh, I can throw a rock at the Mercy. Trying to angle in here, I get it, but you're trying to go for something cute angling on the McCree when there's better things you can do and safer things you can do just playing right here. Yeah, this should be. You should already have tried to cancel this into a rock on the Mercy. But hey. Yikes! This is not safe. What are you gonna do? Are you immediately gonna turn in here and walk into the building and fight this McCree with your Tracer? Like, I do not like this advancement. I'm glad your Tracer got it, but there was no reason for you to be up here just exposing yourself to multiple angles, putting yourself in more danger. You were totally fine from here where you had your cover, you're hard to extract, you can pelt into here, you can try to interrupt reses with rocks, etc. But you can take your new cover now. Yeah, because your Tracer did clear it for you. If you want to push up and play from here, that's fine. In fact, I'd recommend you do so. We're just in the middle of point. You. Yeah, you're just wandering around the middle. This is a positioning issue. Okay. You gonna recall that barrier sometime soon? Sometime soon? Maybe?
Barrier won't hold together.
Nice. You didn't need to advance on it. You did perfectly fine damage from back here where you had your cover sort of available. Did you care if that Lucio booped you? Like, what was that to block? You have 372 health, so you don't care if he shoots you. And a boop would have sent you here? Who cares? Really, who cares? There's no reason for this barrier. And again, barrier has a meaningful cooldown when you pull it back now, so you have to be more conscious of what you're using it for.
Turret theory.
And it's still out, doing nothing. You just got back. You just got to pulling it back. So this has become a habit, this attack round here, where you're leaving your barrier out and forgetting about it for a couple seconds when you're clearly not going to go back and use it. You deployed that too far. I mean, it would have been hard to deploy it short enough. You just needed to back up a little to make that deployment better. Melee, yeah. You sent that too far forward. And you realized that shift was your answer a little too late, so you got less health out of that than you should have. But that's okay. we can just call this a reset. Your team is kind of out of this, so we're going to generously call this a reset.
That music, it's playing again. Enemy turret ahead. Activating the barrier.
Okay.
Retrieving the barrier.
You can go take high ground. You can go take high ground. You can go take high ground. You can go up here and put pressure on them from up here. Look at how uncomfortable this would make them. Look at how uncomfortable they would be if you shot from here. It would be so uncomfortable if you shot them from here. It would be great. You shoot them in the head. They don't have the Fortify buff this patch, so that actually hurts them. It would be great. This is okay, but this isn't great because your Reinhardt's eventually going to come through here, and this turns into you and Reinhardt being on the same angle. Whereas this, you and Reinhardt aren't really going to be on the same angle, and then you'll rotate it to here to deepen your angle. And again, you're Sigma. You're incredibly hard to extract from spots. So this is kind of, if you can work your way up to here, that'd be great. Oh, you're going for the ult. Okay, that's fine. I think it's probably a touch early. I don't think your team is really in this yet. Like, look where your Junkrat is. Your Reinhardt has no barrier, and you know it. We heard his barrier break, and he's here, so he can't, like, he's not here swinging at it. He's still a good 2 seconds from the battle. The Junkrat's at least a good 3 or 4 seconds from really being in this battle. Diana could open the angle and be in the battle in a second, and your Tracer is in the battle. So, like, it's not terrible as far as ults go, but kind of like your previous ult on defense here, I don't love it. This does feel a little early, and I actually think you could have rotated to here and hit a better ult. You'd have been maybe a second late, but that would be better than you being about 3 seconds early. This ult is all on you to make something happen, with a little bit of help from Tracer. And it's the high noon again. We're lifting people. We made our BAPS positioning worse by lifting the McCree. Yikes, yikes. Again, the McCree would just be deleted if you had any help in here. If you had a little more going on, etc. And your Tracer maybe sort of got booped or maybe just decided to reset this fight. This looks like a reset. You guys have a little time on the clock and they now have you down 2. They have Valt going. They're about to flux. Yeah, this is over.
About to break.
There comes the doctor away.
Nano boost almost ready.
60 seconds.
Stardust to stardust.
Enemy turret located.
Okay, you've got your Orisa now. Good. Good. I don't think that barrier did anything for you. Like, I guess it's okay to go, no, I'm going to take that back. You're deploying that barrier worried that he's going to boop you, but then you advanced past your barrier, which is weird. So if you deployed this barrier because you wanted to make sure he didn't boop you to create more distance while he then rounded the corner and got away, I can live with it. I can live with it. But now your barrier is kind of worthless because you walked past it, which means he could have booped you anyways. Yeah. Please recall the barrier. You recalled the barrier right away. Nice! There's your shift. Press forward and protect your Orisa, and now back up again. No. Okay, barrier's out. That's fine. Deepen this angle. Deepen this angle. Perfect!
Double kill.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Double kill.
Again, this worked, and I'm okay with it. I would have preferred if your Orisa was pushing here that you push here, but your Orisa kind of followed you, so I can live with that. I would have preferred a little more up through here would have been a possibility in the previous push. Like, I do want you still aware of those angles. This is better than what we saw in Eichenwald in terms of you taking different angles, but there is still room for improvement there.
Up at my position.
Riptide ready to roll.
Objective A captured. New defense. defense point. Objective Z.
Guys, I'm not worried that Grape or whoever is leaving a dislike. If they don't like the style or it's not at their speed, a dislike is not going to be the end of me.
Barrier too late. Barrier is unstable.
That said, I do appreciate, that you guys are like, hey, let's get the likes, because we should get the likes. The likes are awesome. Okay, play to the right, play to the right. This is correct. Good. Close your barrier, close your barrier. Good. Don't drift back here. Oh, you're going for the window. Okay, you can go for the window. And I don't mind if you barrier and then shift this, because you have a window out. Didn't need to send it that far forward, but okay. And are you going to steepen this angle? Yep. Okay. It's a little dicey, but it probably does need to be on the McCree Orisa here. Okay, he's gone. Close the angle. Unfortunate.
Stardust to stardust.
The objective is mine.
Okay.
Victory.
So, not a big deal. The things that I want you to work on there is I do want you to continue to think about your angles. Again, there's good improvement here, but now we're going to start to get into your barrier usage a bit more. And with your barrier usage, I'm finding too many windows where you're forgetting your barriers out, and even forgetting your barriers out for 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds after you're off doing something else, somewhere else, etc. That's a fair amount of regen time that your barrier can pick up. So I want you more aware of that. And I also want you to be more conscious of what specifically you're blocking with your what specifically you are blocking with your barrier. I want that barrier to come out because you're going, oh, I'm worried about a boop here, and a boop would be annoying. Or I'm worried about specifically the micro missiles. Micro missiles would be a bad example because you can, what am I trying to say? You can just avoid the micro missiles, close the angle, but you should go, hey, this is for the threat of a flashbang. This is for the threat of a boop. This is for the fair rockets. This is for the sticky mines that are coming out, etc. It can sometimes be used for, hey, I'm doing this to do some generic damage, etc. But you solve most of the generic damage with your peak timing of going, hey, I throw my 2 orbs, I close. I throw my 2 orbs, I close. I throw my 2 orbs, I close. I throw my 2 orbs, I put my barrier out, I throw 2 more orbs, and then I close and call my barrier because you're going for a finish or something like that, or because you've got a good follow-up, you've got something that you really want to pressure hard, etc. Your generic sort of spam poke, hey, we're whittling them down while my team's working from another angle, is more reliant on your metronome, and your barrier is a little more for specific things. Again, you can juggle some health, but you see when you put it out there, you lose 2/3, 3/4 of it. It's only 700 health, so you want to be careful about spending it on things that, are like micro missiles that you can just close, or hey, McCree's shooting at you, you just close the angle for a moment, etc. And then we could talk about your shifts. I mean, you had some shifts that were okay, but then you had some shifts that were pretty, hey, no one's shooting at you, why are you popping shift? You expect people to be shooting at you. Or a shift here that we saw where it was like, you started backing up, you didn't have barrier, so you shifted to cover your rotation, and then you completed your rotation and went, oh, well, I still have shift left, so let me push back up here. And that's not right. Like, you can reopen the angle, but you don't want to leave yourself in a situation where now you're punching into enemies that have a surround on you, and your team is back here, so they don't have good steep angles, etc. So again, continue to work on the angles, but I'd start to, after that, turn your mind towards, hey, I want to make sure if I'm deploying my barrier, it is for the threat of a boop, for the threat of a hook, for the threat of a sleep, for, okay, I'm staying in to get a finish on this enemy, to really put pressure on this group, etc., because our team is pushing in hard, etc. I don't want it to just be, I automatically put out my barrier when I start shooting from a place, etc., because there's, you can do some of that, but you want to be a little more calculating. It's not as ability blocking only as a Winston bubble, but it's not as durable as a Reinhardt shield either. So it's a happy medium, and you're treating it a little too like a Rein shield now, and we need to treat it a little closer to a Winston bubble, if that makes sense. If there's any questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. I'll try to find any that were there before, but it might be buried in the arguments over likes and dislikes. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord through the description below, and in there you can see what my rates look like. You can become part of the community, see any sort of events or promos we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay, let's see. Do we have in here? Okay. Yeah, it's just you guys discussing trolls and lizard people. Okay, I think that covers it. No problem, Zero. Glad it helped you out. You too, Ashburgers. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys. Oh, let's get back to a video. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.